Hello everyone and welcome to Sinful Gaming. I hope you're all doing well, I hope you're all staying safe, and most of all, I hope you're all fighting that war against the grey. Today's video, we're going to chat Warhammer Age of Sigmar, and today we're going to take a look at the new Ironjawz rules download for Warhammer Age of Sigmar. Now, the Ironjawz do go on pre-order this coming weekend. You can get a bunch of the brand new miniatures, but also Games Workshop have released a free update, Battletome or Battletome update for the Ironjawz for you to have to use all these brand new units without having to pick up any new book or anything for them, which is awesome. Now, there are going to be some rules that are going to be looked behind one of the new books. You can get a new Army of Renown, which is sort of like a special allegiance for some of the new pig stuff coming out for the Ironjawz. That'll be in not Broken Realms, what is it called? Dawnbringers Book 2 for you to have a look at. And we're going to talk a little bit briefly because they don't give the rules out for that. They just give the rules for the units. But today's video is brought to you by Gap Games, a fantastic retailer in Australia for a variety of different miniature war games. If you'd like to help support the channel, we have an affiliate link where by clicking on and purchasing, you'll help support the channel, but you'll also help support Gap Games, which is a fantastic servant to the community. We're just going to skip through the rules here because there's not too much here. But we'll just talk a little bit about this. Dawnbringers Book 2, Reign of the Brute, also provides rules for the Grunted Stampede, an entire army of renown that revolves around hogs of war, both big and small, with a buffet of unique enhancements, allegiance ability, a righteous chance of here we come, riled up your Oryx to create an unstoppable surge of momentum, giving you an early start as your more grunty units avoid losing momentum in the first turns. And here we come. It is during your first battle round, you don't subtract 1 from the momentum score for friendly more grunty units at the end of each turn. Pretty cool stuff. We'll learn more about what momentum rolls are, but this is pretty cool, and this also should be said in Dawnbringers Book 2, you've got a King Broad and his Gargant Stomp will have one. You've obviously got the Troggoth herd in there that we talked about yesterday that's going to be in there, and there's going to be a Caradron Overlord's Grunstock Expeditionary Force as well. So with that all said, let's get looking at the brand new Ironjawz War Scrolls. And so, Warhammer Age of Sigmar Battletome Supplement Ironjawz. This is pretty cool. So I'll say the first thing about this, I was just expecting some rules. What you get though is you get a full proper Battletome supplement. You get nice sort of narrative. If you are new to Ironjawz, this would be a great place to pick up some cool narrative. You get a talk about the Hogs of War. It's got cool art. If you printed this out, it'd look really cool. Mobs, Fists and Brawls, Rise of the Grunt Fists and all of that stuff like this. A lot of cool stuff in here, with some really nice artwork on a bunch of stuff as well, which is awesome to see. But then you get, your narrative sections for all of this, which is great. I wasn't expecting all of this. I think this is a really, really cool, Battletome update. That's, just nice getting all this extra sort of narrative and lore and, all this extra detail behind everything is awesome. We then get some really cool artwork in there. I love this one of the new Ardboy Big Boss and some Oryx. We then get a cool miniature display section in it as well. So it is almost essentially like a brand new Battletome, really. Just obviously doesn't include any of the other Oryx units. But yeah, you're getting a look at all the models in here, which is awesome. Which is pretty cool to see all this stuff pre-actual Battletome. We've then got, in here, different colour schemes. So, the Crypt Boys, Gorkamorka Glyph Bearer, Ardboys, Bloodtooth's Ardboy Boss, and all of that. And it sort of talks about, Battletome supplement, what it's a supplement for Orc War clans. But then we go into the War Scrolls. I think the only thing for me missing from this would have been cool, especially to have a paint guide. If this had the paint guide, but I would assume that the Citadel app is going to bring out a paint guide as well, so you've definitely got that to look forward to. But other than that, I don't think there's a lot to really complain about. This would be pretty cool. Be nice if maybe you had some Path to Glory supplement, but of course that's probably going to be in Dawnbringers as well. So really, really cool stuff. I'm quite excited by this. And so, first of all, we look at the big new hero. This is the Tusk Boss on grunted. Now, I will say, there are 3 different war scrolls for this kit. I thought there were only going to be 2. There's going to be the hero and the non-hero, but there's actually 2 other versions of this as well. So, this is the Tusk Boss on grunted. And so, movement has its different value here, and this is where it's interesting. It doesn't have a damage table, it has a momentum score. So I think to talk about all of this, let's talk about momentum score from the get-go, and that is in Unstoppable Momentum. This unit has a momentum score that affects values represented by the little asterisks for this unit as shown on the momentum table above. At the start of the battle, this unit has a momentum score of 1, and each time this unit finishes a run or charge move, you add D3 to its momentum score. It can never have more than 6 for its momentum score, and you must subtract 1 from its momentum score to a minimum of 1 at the end of each turn. Obviously, in the special regiment or army of renown, you are not subtracting that 1 at all. Now, this means, that you do have an increasing profile. Your kill choppers, which are your sort of companions, your crews, weapons, the mighty tusks, which is probably your big damage weapon, and your move all increase, which is pretty cool. I like the idea of an increasing movement score. It's really interesting. And so 14 wounds, 3 plus save, bravery 8, and a base movement of 9 with a maximum of 12. Pretty cool stuff. You got your Pig Hacker, which is the weapon of the boss on top. 6 attacks, 3s and 3s, Ren 1 damage 2. Nice. Mighty Tusk there with 2 attacks, 3s and 3s, Ren -3 at all times. And it goes from D3 damage to D3 plus 3 damage. You then have 4 attacks with your Trampling Trotters. 3s and 3s, Ren -1, damage D3. And your Kill Choppers, which are on the flanks of the model here. 2 attacks, so 1 from each brute. 3s and 3s, rend between -1 and -3, damage 2, which is pretty awesome. The More Grunter is obviously a mount. The Hacken Crew is the Kill Chopper wielders. Head of the Stampede, if this unit makes a charge roll, you can just reroll charges for all friendly More Grunter units on the battlefield until the end of phase. This is actually very similar to an ability we've just seen in Cities of Sigmar. The Dreadlord on Black Dragon has the same thing for Order Serpentis, which is pretty cool. Unstoppable Momentum we've been through, but Headlong Charger, while this unit has a momentum score of 4 or more, it can charge even if it ran earlier in the turn. Which is pretty cool. So this means, you potentially will have your momentum score of 4. If you roll that D3 and get that 5 or 6, you will have run and charge turn 1. It is a little bit, I guess, risky to do so, but it is something you totally could do. You've then also got a special monstrous rampage called Carve a Path. This is very similar, I guess, in feeling to the Stonehorn special one, if you've played Ogre Maw Tribes before. Pick an enemy unit with a wounds characteristic of 4 or less within 3 inch and roll a dice. If the roll is less than the unit's momentum score, the unit suffers a number of mortal wounds equal to the roll, and you can immediately attempt to charge with this unit. When a unit charges in this manner, it can pass across enemy units with a wounds characteristic of 1 or 2 as if it had fly. So very similar to the Stonehorn there, being able to do some mortal wounds and then charge across things. Pretty cool stuff. Now, as I mentioned, we do have 2 different variations of alternate build for this kit. First is the More Grunter with Hacken Crew. So this is the full allotment here. 14 wounds on a 4+ save. You got a very similar attack profile, though you got the Gouger, Chopper, and Axe here. Drop a couple of attacks. That's all really. It is elite, which is nice, so it can provide commands to itself. And then you've got pretty similar stuff here on all of this. It's fairly similar, obviously without all the hero ability and all that. You then also have More grunted gouges. Now this drops the sidecars of it, and drops the chariot version, I guess, of it. But is an interesting one because monstrous regiment. Only 1 model in this unit can carry out a regiment. And so this can actually be taken in units as well, which is really, really cool. So you can have 1 or 2 of these. And then, same sort of thing. But they do have a different monstrous rampage. Now, obviously they lose the sidecar weapons But flattened into the mud. Only a model in this unit can make a charge move in a turn that can carry out this monstrous rampage. You pick an enemy unit with a wounds characteristic of 1 or 2 within 3 inches of this unit and roll a dice. If it's less than the unit's momentum score, the strike last effect applies to the enemy unit. This is really nice, like being able to do multi-charges and all that, and getting these in. So all in all, 3 really interesting profiles. You got, your cheaper one here. This one is not a hero. So you've got a hero up the top. You've then got the same sort of thing without a hero, but it still is elite. And then you've got these sort of single model cavalry ones that can be taken in units that have a separate monstrous rampage that really sets them apart to maybe be some utility for the force. But are still packing out a decent amount of punch in them as well. Now, Ardboy Big Boss is one of the 2 new heroes, 6 wounds, 3+ save. The boss, Hacker and Chopper, 5 attacks, 3s and 3s, run 1 damage 2, that profile we all know and love. Iron Fisted Command, this unit can issue Rally up to 2 times. If it does so, each command must be received by Ardboys and no command point is spent for the second one. This is incredibly powerful ability, being able to use Rally for free. And in addition, it rallies models on a 5+ for Ardboy units instead of each 6. That is huge. Being able to use a Rally for free and then getting 2 rallies, massive. And Get Bashin', add 1 to shield bash rolls made for friendly Ardboys within 12 inch. We'll check on what exactly that does in a bit, but really, really cool stuff. We then have Zog Grok Anvil Smasher, and his faithful squid companion, 7 wounds, 3+ save. Pretty cool stuff. He's got a bunch of different attack profiles. He actually puts out pretty decent damage for a foot hero. He effectively has an ability called Power of the Great Green God. He can make some of your units shine green hot, and that effectively makes them do mortal wounds on the hit rolls of 6. So some mortal wound dealing ability is really nice. And Ward Smashing Chopper, if he ever makes an attack with his Ward Smashing Chopper, and that's a 6, that unit's wards are smashed, and they can't be, and a unit's wards are smashed for the rest of the battle. Ward rolls cannot be made. So this is actually pretty cool. Like, if he can get into someone that's got a ward, just flank them and just be able to turn off something, powerful as ward. Really, really big sort of powerful ability. He is going to struggle to get there. Movement 4, he's a foot hero. We're definitely going to have, issues getting him there, but that is a super, super powerful ability. Now we go on to the Brute models. We have the 2 new Brute Rages and Weird Brute Wreckers. So the Brute Rages, they're elite. It should be said both are elite. Both have a 3+ save, 3 wounds and a 5+ save. They both have the ability to run and charge thanks to the Berserker's rules. Now, we do have 3 different melee weapon options here. So what's cool as well is each model's armed with one of the different weapons. You can mix and match the weapons as you see fit. Chain Smasher, most attacks there. The Mighty Gore Hacker is raid -2 and damage 2, so some consistent damage. And then you've got the Brute Crusher as well. 4s and 4s, so it's the least consistent profile. Raid -1, damage 3, but it does have the ability on a 6 to just cause 3 mortal wounds. Weird Brute Wreckers, on the other hand, they get extra sort of damage. If they're a modified hit roll of a 6, you score 2 hits instead of 1 if you're targeting a unit with 10 or more models. And they also have a 5+ save in melee as well. Both pretty interesting units. I think they both put out a decent amount of damage. Really cool stuff. And then we got the Orc Ardboys as well. So 2 wounds, 3+ save. You got the options for either choppers or stickers. So we'll talk about Shield Bash first, because obviously the Ardboy Big Boss up the top has an ability that works around this. This is effectively a way they can just deal some mortal wounds each time they fire. After all their attacks been resolved, you pick an enemy unit within an inch, and for each one of your Ardboys within an inch, you can then roll a dice. For each 6 of them, the enemy suffers a mortal wound. Obviously, that'll be 5 if they're nearby your Ardboy Big Boss. Here we go is going to be the ability for the choppers. If they make a charge, they get +1 attack. And then the stickers, if they are charged, they get +1 rend. So a nice sort of useful option for taking the 2 different weapons. I like this. Having the weapons have actual options and actual differences is really cool. Now, pitch battle profiles is where we end on. We've obviously got some interesting things. Ardboys is the big one here. Unit size is now 10, 220 points for a unit. They are battle line now, so this is a big update, because that means your battle line for Auric Warclans has dramatically increased, especially for Ironjawz, so this is something to think about. I just think that the unit size 10 at all times now, it's almost always going to be the Ardboy stickers for me as the option. More grunter, so the more grunter with, well, where is he? Tusk Boss on more grunter, 380, single model. Now, you also get more grunter gouges. These are the cavalry model. Now, they are behemoth, but they're not single, so you can increase them by 1 or by 2, because they do become battle line if you have a more grunter general. So you can take units of 3, 180 points each. More grunter with hack and crew is 270. You've got the Ardboy Big Boss at 100. I think that is an absolute steal at 100 to give some really cool benefit to your force. Zogrok Anvil Smasher at 160. He is interesting. He is incredibly slow, but if he can get that ability off, he is going to be incredibly powerful. And the Brute Rages, 100 points for the 3 and 125 for the Reed Brute Wreckers is probably around right. I'm interested in these. The pigs maybe are a little bit too much. I don't think the Tusk Boss is too bad at 380. The more grunted gouges at 180 is going to be expensive, but it is, I guess, cheaper than taking Auric Ardboys now, who have gone up. But if you play Ironjawz, I'd love to hear from you on what your thoughts are on everything we've seen in this Battletome update. Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. And that's the end of the video. We hope you all enjoyed it. If you did, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel, and also drop a comment down below letting us know what you thought about the video. If you'd like to come chat more with me and other members of our fine little community here at Sinful Gaming, we have a Discord server linked down in the video's description. Also linked down in the video's description are the best ways to help support the channel. You can use one of our affiliate links to Gap Games or Element Games if you're in Australia or the United Kingdom, or you can subscribe to our YouTube members or Patreon, or grab some merch from our merch stores on Teespring or Ko-fi. All the best ways to help support the channel. As a special thanks to all our Patreon and YouTube members, we'd like to give them all a shout out. So thank you to our Patrons: Broken Chef, Andy C, Grimscold, Colorblind Magic, Benjamin Swallows, James Cater, Mark Harvey, Domir, Average Wargamer, JJ Austrian, Cure Dynamic, Andrew Bowen, Outer and Shot First, Kenny Lowell and Soren. And to our YouTube members: Green Roots Gaming, Ronya, Lock Lorick, The Johnny84, Broken Chef, Ariana Edwards, Monty's Tabletop Terrain, James Tillman, Disco, John Castle, and Gargamel196. Thank you all once again for watching. Like, subscribe, comment down below. Stay safe, everyone. Stay well. And most of all, keep fighting that war against the grey. Ciao for now.